Wednesday Season 3 is officially happening, but this time, what we're talking about isn't just news of a new season. This season brings to light the family secrets Wednesday has been running from her entire life, a dark past, and the most dangerous side of the Addams family. Netflix approving Season 3 this early is no coincidence, because the story is now moving beyond Nevermore and directly touching Wednesday's fate. In this video, we'll talk about why Season 3 is set to be the darkest season yet, and how Aunt Ophelia will change everything. But before we begin, I have a small request. Right now, we're seriously struggling with the YouTube algorithm. Our videos aren't being recommended like they used to, and because they aren't recommended, they aren't getting watched. If you want to support the channel, liking the video and subscribing truly makes a huge difference for us. Thanks in advance. Now let's get into the video. The timing of this approval is just as important as the approval itself. Netflix announced Season 3 before Season 2 had even been released. And that tells us something very clearly. The creators and Netflix knew exactly where this story was going from the very beginning. Season 2 wasn't an ending, it was preparation. The real story, the real breaking point, and the real confrontation were being set up. And now, that groundwork is complete. The Season 2 finale did far more than deliver a standard cliffhanger ending. Instead of answers, it left us with deeply unsettling questions. A name, a threat, a dark vision, and a truth hidden behind closed doors. Wednesday losing her powers and then regaining them wasn't a coincidence. It was an echo of a much greater catastrophe that happened in the past. At this point, the show stops being a crime mystery and transforms into a family tragedy. The creators have made one thing very clear. In Season 3, the characters will deepen and the Nevermore universe will expand. But the real focus is on the secrets of the Addams family. Meaning the mystery Wednesday must solve is no longer a killer or a monster, it's a darkness that comes from her own bloodline. And that darkness takes shape through a long-lost character. Someone who represents an unhealed wound in Morticia's life and an unavoidable turning point in Wednesday's destiny. Aunt Ophelia isn't just a new character. She's the missing piece of this story, the reason Season 3 exists, and the person who will completely destroy every balance Wednesday has built so far. What makes Aunt Ophelia so important isn't just the fact that she's a lost relative. She is a living reflection of the Addams family's suppressed past. Morticia describing her as lost for years was no coincidence. Because Ophelia's disappearance is tied to uncontrollable powers, raven abilities, and a catastrophe that was never spoken about within the family. The vision we saw in the Season 2 finale suggests that Ophelia may not simply be far away, she may have been deliberately hidden. At this point, what the show does is incredibly clever. Wednesday losing her powers, the black tears streaming from her eyes, and the eventual return. None of these details are random. They feel like echoes of what Ophelia experienced in the past. Meaning what Wednesday is going through may not be a glimpse of her future, but the repetition of a tragedy that already happened. And breaking or completing that cycle becomes the central conflict of Season 3. Casting Eva Green as Aunt Ophelia also clearly defines the tone of this story. When you look at Eva Green's career, you realize that none of the characters she plays are ever ordinary. Mysterious, unsettling, fragile, yet dangerous. These traits align perfectly with Ophelia's role in the series. That tells us one thing. Ophelia won't just exist as a story from the past, she'll be an active threat or a tragic figure standing at the center of the narrative. On top of that, this casting marks Eva Green's reunion with Tim Burton, and that detail is critical. Burton's gothic storytelling is one of the core pillars of the Wednesday universe. In Season 3, it's almost guaranteed that this aesthetic will become even more intense, darker, more fairy tale-like, but also more disturbing, visually and emotionally. Season 3 could be heavier than anything we've seen before. This takes Wednesday's story to a completely different place. She's no longer facing a murder to solve or an enemy testing her intelligence. She's facing a legacy passed down through her family. A secret Morticia, played by Catherine Zeta-Jones, has suppressed for years. And a fate Wednesday, played by Jenna Ortega, cannot escape. Season 3 may be the first time we see Wednesday truly vulnerable. One of the biggest promises of Season 3 is that Nevermore will no longer be just a school. The creator's emphasis on expanding the universe suggests new locations, new supernatural rules, and possibly threats we've never seen before. But this expansion isn't random world building. On the contrary, it feels directly connected to the Addams family's past, as if the doors to something older and far darker are being opened. This pushes Wednesday's character journey into much heavier territory. Until now, Wednesday has survived by trusting her intelligence, her composure, and her sense of control. But when it comes to her family's secrets, that sense of control may slip away for the first time. Because the darkness she's facing isn't external, it's a legacy flowing through her veins. And that legacy is portrayed like a curse that grows stronger the more it's suppressed. Other members of the Addams family are also expected to play a much larger role this season. Morticia's past decisions, how deeply Gomez was involved in this darkness, and the truths Grandmama knows but is kept hidden. All of these could start collapsing like dominoes with Ophelia's return. These fractures within the family may leave Wednesday more alone than she's ever been before. At this point, the tone of the series shifts dramatically. The more playful, stylized darkness of Season 1 became sharper in Season 2. In Season 3, that darkness turns deeply personal. The humor will still be there, but it will feel more like a defense mechanism. Because the story being told is built on loss, guilt, and suppressed trauma. And perhaps most importantly, Season 3 doesn't want to elevate Wednesday as a hero. It wants to test her. Can she control her powers? Can she avoid repeating her family's mistakes? Or was Ophelia's fate merely a warning? These questions will haunt Wednesday throughout the season and push her into the most fragile state we've ever seen her in. What truly makes this season compelling is that it doesn't lead us into a simple good versus evil conflict. Aunt Ophelia likely won't be a purely evil character. Her story feels more like a tragedy born from uncontrollable powers, family pressure, and catastrophic decisions. And that places Wednesday in an impossible position. Because this time, the person she may need to stop isn't a stranger, it could be a reflection of what she herself might become. This could completely redefine Wednesday's relationship with her powers. Up until now, she's used them as an advantage and at times tried to suppress them. But Ophelia's story shows what happens when those powers are buried or misdirected. Season 3 may confront Wednesday with a terrifying question for the first time. Is controlling her powers more dangerous or running from them? At the same time, this season seriously challenges the Addams family's image of being weird but happy. Morticia's past decisions and the sacrifices she may have made to protect Ophelia are now coming back to haunt the entire family. Wednesday may begin questioning whether her family lied to protect her or to protect themselves, and that question could become her most emotionally devastating breaking point. When all these pieces come together, one thing becomes very clear. Season 3 is shaping up to be the most personal and darkest season of Wednesday so far. The mystery is still there. The supernatural elements are still there. But everything is far more internal now. Instead of asking, who's the killer? This season wants to ask, would you make the same mistake? Wednesday Season 3 isn't just telling a new mystery, it's telling a confrontation. The secrets the Addams family has buried, Aunt Ophelia's return, and Wednesday coming face to face with her own destiny take the series to a completely new level. This season seems far more interested in asking, would you make the same mistake, than who's the killer? Do you think Wednesday can overcome her family's past, or will she become part of that darkness? Make sure to share your thoughts in the comments. And I want to remind you once again, we're genuinely going through a very difficult time with the YouTube algorithm right now. Because our videos aren't being recommended, they aren't getting watched, and the only way to break that cycle is with your support. If you like the video and subscribe to the channel, it helps us more than you can imagine. Thanks to everyone who supports us, and I'll see you in the next video.